One of the biggest disappointments in buying any crossover, minivan, or even full-size SUV today is the lack of roof material. I'm talking about the crossbars, the lack of roof rails, and it's not just today. This goes back decades. I mean, my 2000 Mitsubishi Montero Sport lacked any bars at all. No roof rails, no bars. My 2011 Outlander, that was a requirement I really wanted to have on there. And for my family today, 2020 Honda Pilot, it lacked both the rails and the bars. So it's my goal in this video not just to show you how to install the roof rails and the bars, but also to change the color on the silver roof rail to black. That way it can match the trim of the car. I mean, this silver doesn't even match the silver trim on the side of the vehicle. It only matches the wheels, and that is a sheer disappointment, especially since the black ones cost a lot more than the silver ones. Now, I am starting this at night because it gets hot out here in California and the Los Angeles areas during the day. First thing we're going to do is we're going to just use fine sandpaper to roughen up the surface so the paint can stick. For the sandpaper, I'm just using 400 grit, and we're using Rust OEM Universal Gloss in black. This sticks to metal, plastic, wood, you name it. The first step is we're just going to lightly sand the surface to roughen it up. Now, these rails are brand new. It's not going to take really anything to clean them. We just need to rough it up just a little bit to help the paint stick a little bit better. Now, something you have to be careful about, if you buy the roof rails and they come attached the plastic shell to the inside, just be really careful as you're pulling it apart so you don't break the plastic and you don't break the plastic mounts on the inside. And what I'm doing is I'm making sure I keep the rubber together with the correct rail system. That way it goes on the correct side of the car. And now that I got the rail sanded, I'm just going to dust it off, get off any loose debris from it. We're going to be putting at least a couple coats on here. We're going to do one tonight, and then we're going to do one or two in the morning. Now, before you paint, make sure you spray out the spray can a couple times just to get any loose globs out. I'm wearing a glove just to keep my hands clean in case the paint can decides to bust itself open. And then we're going to paint down the surface about 6 to 8 inches or so away from the surface. Just nice even coat going back and forth, and we let it dry. It takes about half an hour for it to dry to the touch. And as I'm letting this first coat dry, I'm just inspecting it with my phone's flashlight to see how exactly the rails look. With the first coat, it looks pretty decent. I'll probably hit this bottom side a little bit more, just one time, so it's not so silver. And this other one looks about the same, with the bottom part of the rail looking a little bit more silver and speckly. And now we just wait about half an hour, then I'll move it inside and we'll come back in the morning, continue the paint, and then also get into the install. Now, I woke up in the morning not feeling like P. Diddy, applying a coat on the bottom of the rails just so there's paint on those edges. We'll flip them back over here shortly, and I want to go over the tools you'll need before we get started on the car. The famous 10mm, a prying tool you use for popping plastic holder stuff off of your car, a flathead screwdriver, a plastic prying tool, a saw, a thread locker, and Allen keys. Luckily, the mounting kits come with it for the rails and for the crossbars. I just really don't like how it's blank up here on the top. It's just a flat blob, so let's fix that. Up in the front of the passenger and the driver's side, you'll see there's a little box right here. I've already done it just to make sure, but you're gonna take your flathead, pop it out, and both sides will expose the 10mm. Here's the driver's side. You'll see it's nice and flush. Pop it out. And don't lose this component here. I'm going to place the driver's side in the driver's side door and the passenger side in the passenger side door. Get your 10mm on a ratchet, remembering that righty-tighty and lefty-loosey. So we're just going to pop this out. Right side bolt in the passenger side, and the left driver's side bolt the driver's side. It's kind of hard to pop this out without, using a tool. So we're going to just use a tool to carefully pop this out, lift it up. Oh, we got some debris in here. I'll probably clean that before I put this back down. But now that that's up, we can carefully start prying this up. You want a plastic prying tool because you'll need to get on the sides, and you do not want to scratch up your paint. And what you can do while you're working on the side is just take the mounting bracket, which is what I'm calling this, and you'll see that there's screws holes that will line up with the different mounting points here. You should notice it like right here and one up here and a couple back there. But what you'll notice is this doesn't come all the way down here, and that's why you need the cutting tool. And this one is going under this shroud, so we'll get to that here in a second. So let's go take off the other side. You'll notice as I'm pulling this up, it's actually easier to go from the inside of the car and kind of twist it outside as I'm lifting it. And you'll hear it getting loose there. But then when I come back on the inside, that's kind of where I need the plastic prying tool to get it out. Oh, and don't worry about these. They're just for keeping this shroud on. We'll need to cut this shroud up here somewhere. We'll deal with that here in a second. Oh, and when you get to the back part here, it just comes off pretty easily. As you get to the back side here, this is just gonna pop up so super easy. Boom, see, nothing about it. And remember, don't worry about these. You need to actually take those off with that metal prying tool. Like so, just nice and easy. There's another one, there's another one, and there's another one. Now in order to remove this shroud, you do have to come back from here to remove this first. And that is easily accomplished by getting a prying tool of some sort and popping it out. But be careful, be very, very careful. You don't want to break that, and it is secured by some sort of adhesive down here. And I have some RV grade putty, but you could use silicone if needed. Now, the thing that will break on you guaranteed is this little plastic piece right in here on both sides. There is a little plastic piece here that clips in that you need to push out towards the outside of the car in order to get this loose. And now that this is loose, you should be able to pop this off. Ah, they stopped their alarm. Oh, I want to dance. Using your long metal prying tool, you can come in here and lift it up, and that will release it from this side. But you'll see as I remove this, everybody seems to break this piece of plastic right there, which can be secured with silicone. I realized after the fact of popping this off, I did not get the hardware kit with the proper shroud for the back, so I'm just going to trim this a little bit short of the rear mounting hole right here, because this is going to keep it secure in place along with the other 3 mounting points. And adding some silicone on the side won't hurt either. I've trimmed it, and I've added some putty on the inside along with, I've also add some fresh putty there. So we're just going to secure this back into place. Do I have the right one? Like I said, we're going to secure this back into place. I removed the old stuff from the outside, and we're just going to match the holes and push it in. And you'll hear it click in, and you push the putty down. So now this is secure. And we're gonna go on the outside and bolt this up. Now let's trim the trim. You'll notice that this front hole needs to go into that screw, or that screw needs to go into that front hole. So we need an inch or a couple inches on this side. We need to cut the shroud down to size, this plastic shroud. So we're gonna line up the bolt hole here, right there. We're gonna come over here to the first bolt. We're going to mark it somewhere around where you see this line is right there, where the mounting hardware for this bolt is. We're going to line it up and just make a mark right there. And that is where we're gonna cut it. Now I'm cutting it where I'm cutting it, because if it's too long, then I can trim back. If I cut it too short, there's no going back the other way. And this is just a basic metal hacksaw, because there is actually a little bit of metal on the inside. And we even put this front piece back on after cutting it. The holes all line up, and you can see it presses down. Once we screw it in, this will be pressed down. And on the back here, this is what's gonna help keep the shroud in. Before I secure the roof rails on, I'm going to just wipe down the surface, make sure there's no debris inside, especially around the outside. I'm gonna put some thread locker onto the bolts just to make sure the screws are secure and they're not gonna wiggle loose as we travel down the road. Before you secure this to the top, make sure that the screw holes are towards the back. You'll notice that there's more area in the front, less area in the back. Make sure the screw holes go towards the back. I'm talking about for the roof rail connection points. And now with the roof hardware in place, I'm going to mount the shroud, that outside shroud that everybody sees, onto it, making sure to line up the holes and snap it into place. And then all that's left for the rails is this little hole right here to put a screw into to help secure these. And then we're gonna move on to the roof rack, which will be super fast and easy to install. These roof rail screws take a Phillips head to install. I should use my electronic screwdriver for this. Before you install the crossbars, remember to tighten down this bolt and put on the cover. Compared to the roof rails, the crossbars are really simple and fast to install. You can have a long bar and a short bar. Figure out the short bar goes in the back, long bar in the front. Same thing, we'll use thread locker on all the different bolts. And for this kit, luckily these are marked with L's and R's for right or left side. And if it's too tight when you put it in, it's on the wrong side. For this kit, we're not using washers on the inside here, but we are going to use them on the long ones that are going to go through the side, but we're leaving this open until we get it mounted on the roof. I realized a couple days after the fact I should probably put those plastic pieces on. So what I did was I secured the washer with some RV putty, and I put the screw in there and I lined it up with the hole and I screwed it in. Now it definitely was a lot easier using a drill instead of doing this by hand, and I recommend doing it with the drill too when you put your crossbars on your SUV. And now the roof rails and crossbars are done. We're set to go. Subscribe for more.